When we hear about the Ultimate Cable, the first person that comes to mind is Josh Brolin from the movie Deadpool 2. Technically, the actor portrayed the half-cyborg, half-human character in great detail, but many important details of the Marvel characters were left out. Today, we'll explore such information and give all comic lovers an in-depth breakdown of the Ultimate Cable, including his origin, powers, and the various timelines he pops up in. To understand Cable, we first need to understand the various timelines in the X-Men and the Marvel comics, and how different writers take creative liberties to showcase the characters in the way they want to. The Ultimate Cable has an ambiguous backstory due to such reasons. The character first appeared in New Mutants issue number 86, but his backstory was explored in a different comic as a child named Nathan Summers. Interestingly, the writers didn't want to connect Nathan Summers and Cable, but decided to do so in subsequent issues due to his insane popularity. Technically, everyone loves a character with a rich backstory. So without any further wait, let's dive into the story of the Ultimate Cable, starting with his origin. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Ultimate Cable origin. The one-way ticket to the future. To understand the Ultimate Cable, we must first understand his origin and the tumultuous beginning of his life. Cable is shown as a formidable character who believes in taking the ultimate action and isn't fearful of anyone. His scary, half-human, half-cyborg look works to his advantage, and his vast array of weapons makes him a deadly opponent. But how is he so powerful, and what are his motivations? To understand that, we must learn about his parents. The Ultimate Cable, also known as Nathan Summers, is the biological son of Cyclops. Yes, the leader of the X-Men who shoots lasers out of his eyes. And guess who his mother is? It's none other than Jean Grey, also known as Dark Phoenix. Wait, it's not technically Jean Grey, but her clone named Madeline Pryor, created by none other than Mr. Sinister. When Nathan was born, Apocalypse infected him with a life-threatening techno-organic virus known as the TO virus. The virus transformed human cells into machinery and gave Cable his infamous half-human, half-cyborg look. So, how did time travel and interdimensional travel get into the picture? Glad you asked. So when Cable was born, there was no cure for the deadly TO virus. To save him from certain death, Cyclops gave his biological son to Sister Ascani, who took him on a one-way ticket to the future. This is why Cable is who he is. Or maybe not, because this is also not the actual Cable. The natural Nathan Summers was raised by Cyclops and Jean Grey, who also made the trip to the future, and Sister Ascani created a clone to safeguard his life. Considering his chaotic childhood, it's safe to assume that Cable turned out to be a popular and well-respected character. You may now think that Cable has a complicated origin, and his character is highly ambiguous. However, this is just the start. Cable's versatility and array of time-traveling abilities made him the perfect character to be redefined in many ways. One popular alternate take on the story of Cable is his turning into Old Man Logan. Yes, imagine Cable, a half-human, half-cyborg who has developed claws like the Wolverine and wants to completely decimate the X-Men. Sounds interesting, right? This was what the Ultimate Marvel Universe did, and Cable became the ultimate killing machine, feared by almost everyone in the Marvel Universe. To understand this version of Cable much better, let's look at some of the issues of the Ultimate X-Men comics. Cable, the ultimate time-traveling superhero or scary antagonist. Writers Robert Kirkman and Ben Oliver decided to give Cable a unique twist. They explored a storyline where the mean killing machine decides to raid the X-Men mansion in the Ultimate X-Men comics issue number 75. Cable traveled from the future to assassinate Charles Xavier so he could preserve the timeline, which was decimated in the future. Cable believed that Xavier's death was vital to safeguarding his timeline and decided to take action for it. However, he was met with resistance, as Professor X had the entire support of the X-Men, while Cable ventured into the X-Men mansion alone. Issue number 76 starts with Cable facing off with Wolverine, while he surprises him by showing off his claws. However, Cable only has access to the claws and doesn't have the additional healing powers of Wolverine. Now, you may wonder how Cable accessed Wolverine's claws. For that, let's take a little trip to the backstory. This version of Cable was pretty identical to the Wolverine. His life was going pretty well, but Apocalypse decided to attract the X-Men and killed most of the characters. He also absorbed Cable's healing powers and ripped off his left arm, giving him the iconic Terminator look. Since then, Cable tried to find a way to time travel and travel back after 30 years to change the past. Now, his face-off with the Wolverine is quite iconic. Both fight with their claws and try to get the better of each other. The sequence is made even better by their witty wordplay and iconic persona. However, it ends as Cable uses an explosive device to incapacitate Wolverine. Subsequently, reinforcements soon arrive as he faces superheroes, including Storm, Cyclops, and even the mighty Colossus. With the might of the entire X-Men against him, it's expected that Cable will be outmatched and outperformed. However, the Ultimate Cable has a plethora of gadgets and weapons from the future. This helps him get the upper hand against the X-Men. The X-Men are a formidable force. Despite the guns and gadgets, it's hard to beat them. Therefore, Therefore, Cable puts up a shield that protects him from all the powers of the X-Men. He then takes Jean Grey hostage and evades the situation while saving his own life. On the other hand, the X-Men try to discover Cable's real identity. They're extremely troubled by Jean Grey's abduction and want to get back at Cable. Interestingly, another portal opens up in the X-Men mansion, and Wolverine meets another person asking about Cable. He soon makes quick work of the mysterious figure. He takes him to Professor X. It's then revealed that the mysterious person is named Bishop and is here to stop Cable from killing Professor X. Meanwhile, Cable is situated in a safe spot and is preparing for his showdown with the X-Men. Jean Grey advises him about the potential hazards of facing the X-Men and how he will lose his life now. However, Cable is pretty confident and replies by saying he won't face the X-Men alone. We can see he's gotten help from the X-Force, a ragtag team of mutants led by Cable. Issue number 77 of the Ultimate X-Men comics starts with Bishop talking to the entire team. He tells them about his time-traveling abilities and all the skills he possesses. Bishop also devises a plan to stop Cable from killing the Professor. Instead of waiting at the mansion, the X-Men fight the Ultimate Cable himself. Bishop could track down his location, and it was somewhere in Finland. Guess where? At the old X-Men compound. It brought many devastating memories for Wolverine and Rogue when they arrived there. On the other hand, Professor X and Cyclops stayed put at the mansion in case Cable came there to confront the Professor. The entire team of X-Men, including Wolverine, Rogue, Storm, Colossus, Iceman, and Bishop, reach the old X-Men compound. As soon as they figure anything out, Rogue's arm is shot off by Cable's associates as they wreak havoc. The X-Men soon find themselves on the back foot, and help is required. Professor X and Cyclops soon fire up the jet and reach the location. Cyclops' addition in the fight helps a lot as he makes quick work of the two Cable's associates. Seeing that, Cable gets into the fight and completely outclasses the X-Men. On the other hand, his associates run away, fearing for their lives. Cable then proceeds to go back into the compound, but is confronted by Cyclops again. Cyclops hopes to get the better of him this time, but to no avail. His vision is entirely damaged by Cable, and he also stabs him in several places. While looking at the carnage, Professor X takes action and surrenders himself to save his students. However, Cable has other plans and quickly detonates the place with the help of an explosive device. Cyclops barely makes it out alive, while Professor X sadly loses his life. Following the explosion, the X-Men investigate the place and find the remains of Professor X. The entire team is devastated as the issue ends. The subsequent issue explores the aftermath of the Professor's death. Believing that Cable made it out safely and Professor gave his life for nothing, the team gets extremely distraught and breaks down at the funeral. Meanwhile, organizations like S.H.I.E.L.D. have taken notice of the situation and adjusted their plans according to the recent unfoldings. Professor's oldest adversary, Magneto, also learns about his death and mourns him in his own way. Following these sequences, we learn about the aftermath of Cable. The half-human, half-cyborg safely makes it back to his original timeline. Although his arm takes a huge hit, he gets it repaired momentarily. Cable is informed that everyone has gone according to plan, as everyone believes that Professor X has lost his life. However, that's far from the truth because Cable played a ruse and abducted the Professor while teleporting him to his own timeline. The alternate versions of Ultimate Cable. It's interesting to learn that Cable has such immense power that he took on the X-Men alone and came out on top. His attitude resembles his strong personality, and his fearful look is enough to scare away his adversaries. His fight with the Apocalypse resulted in him getting scarred on his face by his claws. This, coupled with his iconic Terminator look, makes him one of the most terrifying villains of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. However, Cable is not all bad and has a rich backstory behind him. The comics have used his character with great liberty, resulting in rich storylines and sequences. Each alternate version of Cable has a different motivation and life journey. Getting back to the original Cable, Nathan Summers spent most of his journey fighting the Apocalypse. His popularity soon increased due to his seriousness and devil-may-care attitude. However, that soon paved the way for an interesting collaboration with Deadpool. Both Cable and Deadpool are on opposite ends of the spectrum. Their back and forth is extremely funny, and it immediately clicked with the readers. Their comic book escapades found huge success, and they were even brought to live action with the movie Deadpool 2. Cable has always played an instrumental part in all the comics he's featured in. With such strong characteristics and persona, you may be wondering what Cable's true abilities are and why he's feared so much by everyone. Let's find out. Ultimate Cable, the strongest mutant? We must first learn about his alternate versions to find out about Cable's true abilities. Each version of Cable possesses various skills. For example, the alternate version of Cable that resembles the Wolverine, also known as James Howlett, has regenerative healing and claws, among many other abilities. However, his futuristic weapons and gear arsenal help him stand out against his adversaries. He also has a teleportation device that allows him to get from one place to another almost instantaneously. Cable is also regarded as a master strategist and has true leadership abilities. He also led the X-Men during various missions and was the X-Force leader. On the other hand, the alternate Ultimate Cable, Nathan Summers, possesses a wide array of powers and abilities. This version of Cable is regarded as an alpha-level mutant and is the best in the entire timeline. Besides having superhuman strength and durability, Cable was regarded as the best telepath in his timeline before his power ran out. He also has the mind control ability and is a master at telekinesis. However, several other superheroes also have access to these abilities. Therefore, let's look at some of his exclusive skills, mainly the TO virus. Yes, Cable was infected with the deadly TO virus that would have eventually killed him, but he turned that into his strength and enjoyed many abilities through that. Due to the virus, Cable has almost become a cyborg, and his physical body is virtually indestructible. Cable can quickly get the upper hand over his enemies with a cybernetic eye and arm. His precarious situation also turned him into a time traveler, an ability he used to complete exhaustion in the comics. These are just the standout abilities that he has in his arsenal. Apart from this, Cable also has many superpowers that an average superhero possesses. Conclusion: with so many abilities and a cult-like following in the comics, Cable is genuinely a standout character. However, that privilege is exclusive to the comic books, as Cable only has a single live-action appearance in the movies. After learning so much about Cable and his interdimensional exploits, it's safe to assume that the morally ambiguous superhero can hold his own against any adversary in the Marvel comics. Cable was born with true superhero abilities, but he honed his other skills to perfection, making him an almost perfect superhero. However, the same can't be said about his motivations and actions, as he's gone head-to-head with many superheroes, and has even killed them for his gains and motivations. After learning about Cable's entire origin story, only one thing is certain: the superhero has always traveled to the past and future to change his present. His never-ending quest to make things perfect has always led to his depression and sadness. This begs the question that all the choices we make have never-ending consequences, and we can spend our lives making things perfect. If you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks, everyone.